All right, been a while since I've done an update on the cab. Last time I was making videos, I was still doing a lot of welding. As you can tell, come a long way since then. Ended up spraying this whole thing down with a gray epoxy primer, and then doing some body work on it. Nothing on this thing's perfect, but if you go back and look at some of my previous videos, you know I filled in every hole on this side, redid this seam all the way across, and filled in a bunch of holes over here. And for the most part, you can't tell where anything was. Now, it's not perfect. I wasn't ever going for perfect. If I wanted this piece to be completely straight, flat, flush, I probably would have cut the whole thing out and just put a whole piece of metal in there. But the way I did it, you know, starting out with metal that wasn't perfect and then just patching it in. Nonetheless, like this part here, you can't tell where that hole was. There's a big hole too. So I just went through, skim coated all my seams with some body filler. Used some metal reinforced body filler on a lot of it just to give it a little more rigidity, and then sanded everything down. Did that multiple times, then used some glazing putty to fill in my little holes that were left over, and then went through and sprayed the whole cab with 2K primer, and then sanded all that down, did a 220, a 400, and once I was happy with it, got it as clean as I could, set the paint booth up in my garage. And then this is a Speed Blue. It's from the brand is Restoration Shop. I ordered it from TCP Global, I believe is what it's called. They can send you the base and the clear as a kit. And I've never sprayed before, and I can't find a run. There is some orange pill. There's some spots where the base coat isn't as thick as I would like, but thankfully most of those spots are in areas I don't care about, like backside of the cab corner way down below. You'll never see it. Some on the inside where most of the trim's gonna go, cover a lot of it up. And then there were a couple little dents that I just really didn't notice on areas that I thought were straight enough to not have to fool with skim coating. But again, not making a show truck, just making a nice truck. So really happy with it. Again, if you go back and watch some of my videos, you can see where I went through and changed out the rocker, the cab corner. There's things like right here I just didn't get carried away with welding because the door sill's gonna go there. You'll never see it. I had to change out inner kick panels, most of the floor. I did not paint this because, one, I'm painting the whole cab. There was no way to really paint this and still be able to get in and paint everything I wanted without screwing this up. So this is actually, I've got bed liner. I'm gonna do my best to color match it, and then I think I'm just gonna roll the bed liner on, and then this thing will get carpet. So honestly, if I didn't do anything to it, it'd be good. I've got bed liner underneath. I thought about putting some kill mat in here, but I don't really want to fool with that stuff. So I'm a bed liner on both sides, and then get the carpet on there, put a little insulation on the firewall. Everywhere I've made holes, I went back through and put some seam sealer on the back side. Maybe overkill. These areas will never really get exposed to moisture, but I just thought let's seal them up as best we can. Had to go through, redo a lot of the seam sealer, like around the doors. I got most of that seam sealer out, and so I had to go back through and re-seam seal that. I'm pretty happy with the way all that turned out. The way the paint went over it looks really good. I seam sealed all my weld seams on here. That was a brush on seam sealer, so it's not the prettiest, but again, you'll never see it. A couple spots that I've also done videos on that I'm really happy with how they turned out. I cut this out and made a new piece for it, and then I did this corner right here. Again, none of it's perfect, but it's better than rusty metal with holes in it. And honestly, it's another spot that you're just never gonna see. But the spots that you will see, like where I had to cut out You know, you can still kind of tell nothing's perfect, but no one's really ever going to focus on this little stuff right here. It's, you know, you can tell where if you really looked hard, you can find where I made my repairs, but to the naked eye, most people will never see it. If you go back and look at what this truck looked like when I started, I mean, it's amazing what little time some repot metal and a welder can do. And I don't really have any experience, so everything's just been done on the fly, learning as I go. I have a Instagram page. It's Blue 82 C-10, and I pretty much post more on there than I do on YouTube. Every time I do something, it gets put on the site. So if you ever want to see this build from start to finish and just pictures, that's where I would go, because I pretty much keep that updated. Really happy with this paint, this clear. It all went on easy. Again, like I said, a little bit of orange peel, but for having, I've never painted before. I don't know if I've said it in this video yet, but this is my first paint job ever. And so the material and everything just couldn't have went on better for me. Like I said, a little bit of orange peel, but if I wanted to sand that, it would come right out. I put 3 coats on. I did like a medium wet, kind of like a little closer to just wet, and then like the final coat, I just hit it pretty hard. So it should be pretty thick. It said 3 to 4. I stopped at 3. I was afraid if I kept going, I'd eventually end up with a run, and so I just didn't push my luck with it. Now it's time to get, this weekend I'll get the cab on. Man, I can't wait. That seemed like something that would never happen. Again, if you go back and watch one of my videos where I did these repairs, it's really hard to tell where those repairs were. Not impossible, but if you didn't know I did those repairs, you probably would never even notice that. And then that's going to be under the seal. So, I mean, I just repaired it more for structural sound of mind, knowing that it's right, and knowing I won't ever have any water coming down in here. Because, like I said, you're never going to see it. All right, well, when I get this cab back on, I'll probably do an update video just kind of showing it sitting on the frame. Gonna get my interior kit ordered. I've got a lot of stuff: steering column, gauges, bezel, master cylinder. I got a lot of parts I can start going on this truck now. Getting this cab painted was a major step in the whole project. And so the next thing I'm gonna focus on is getting this LS motor started. I gotta run fuel lines. Got to get the harness hooked up. Just a bunch of little odds and ends that are gonna be time consuming, but nothing like this cab was. I'll catch you up.